Hello guys, and today I'm going to provide you with a discussion. Now this is an incredibly controversial video, okay? And if you watch only part of it, you will not understand the full point of what I'm trying to make. You will misunderstand me and misunderstand the points I'm making and probably hate me. Now the debate is, should people go murder neutral? Now, or even murder negative? Now, what the hell am I talking about? Well, okay, you'll understand this later, okay? But this is a very controversial point which I don't even fully agree with myself, but something for you to think about, and then you will understand the point I'm making at the end, okay? As I said, if you switch off halfway through, you will not understand the point I'm making and completely misunderstand my points, okay? Right, well, supposing you've got a man, okay? And his wife's getting older and a bit more ugly. And he doesn't want to pay a lot of money to her for an expensive divorce. He just wants to get rid of her. So, he pays somebody to bump her off. Now, I don't know, right? Now, he decides to offset this murder by making a financial donation to a hospital to allow them to buy an expensive piece of medical equipment which will save hundreds of lives. Because he has bought this expensive medical equipment, many people who might have otherwise died will now live. This means that by buying this expensive piece of equipment, many people are now alive that would perhaps not have been alive. Therefore, he could claim to be murder neutral. Even though he paid for his wife to be killed, he could say he had more than offset that by paying for other people elsewhere to be saved. He could therefore claim that he's doing a good thing for the world. He could claim that he has saved more lives by doing this. He could claim that he has saved more lives than he has in fact destroyed by being murder negative. By saving more lives than he's actually killed. Or even though he may not have even done it, he may have just paid other people to do it. Okay? Now, supposing wife number 2 comes along, and in 3 or 4 years' time he gets bored of her as well. So he pays for her to be killed as well. And then, you know, I'm not talking about, I want to emphasise this by the way, I'm not talking about euthanasia. I'll have more on that in a moment, okay? Right? I'm talking about against the wishes of the woman, okay? He just gets bored of her and pays somebody to murder her. And okay? Then he could, once again, he could then decide to offset this murder by donating money to a different hospital so that they can buy more medical equipment to save even more people. Now, imagine one day there's a pattern of these people being murdered, and it seems a bit too suspicious, and the police come round. What if he was to admit to it and say, yes, he had in fact paid other people to kill his previous wives, but he had offset this by making a huge donation to hospitals? Would that get him off a murder charge? Would that stop him from being prosecuted and sent to jail? Would it stop him from being executed in certain countries? These are genuine issues, okay? And what you have to understand is that many people would rightly say, well, you may have done these good things, you may have donated lots of money to hospitals, and a lot of people may be alive today because of what you did by donating money to hospitals. But that does not excuse the fact that you paid somebody else to murder your previous wives. Not because they wanted it. It wasn't seen as some sort of mercy killing because they had an incurable illness and, you know, they were in terrific pain. That's a separate issue, and there are debates about that. There are debates about whether killing somebody with their permission, because they cannot kill themselves because they're so ill, they don't have the means of doing so, should that be allowed? And there are people who've gone to court over this who have begged the government to let their husband kill them. And the government over in Britain has said, no, you can't do that. Even if the woman goes to court and begs the court to let her husband kill her, the court says, no, I'm sorry, you cannot do that. In some countries they can. And in some countries there are ways where a man can legally kill his wife, providing she consents to it, and, you know, she has an incurable illness and she consents to it. Or they can go to maybe, you know, a special hospital where the hospital will end their life, specially, you know, and kill them specially, okay, in the most humane way that they can. I think there's, okay, some places in Sweden, I'm not sure if Sweden's one of them, I can't remember, maybe it isn't Sweden, I know it's one of these countries like that, I know it's maybe Switzerland, I can't remember now, it's one of these countries in Europe, and I forget where it is now, okay, but that's a separate issue. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the issue where somebody's just killed without their permission, who doesn't want to be killed, where just because their husband is frankly bored of them and doesn't want to give them a lot of money in a divorce, expensive divorce settlement. Okay. Now, people say that'd be unacceptable, and in certain countries like America, they say he should fry, he should be electrocuted, or he should be given a lethal injection, or whatever. They think he should be killed for that, probably. Okay. I'm not sure what the rules are in America if you just pay for somebody to be killed but don't actually do it yourself, but you actually pay the hitman to do it. But to me, they're just as bad, probably. Right? Even so, right now you might think, well, what's this got to do with anything? I mean, surely everybody thinks this is wrong, right? Surely everybody thinks it would be wrong for him to defend the fact that he had paid for people to kill his wife, but he feels he's doing a good thing by paying for even more people to be saved. People think that's twisted logic, surely. Well, is it? You see, this is the logic that people are using regarding climate change and the environment. You see, you have many, many famous people talking about going carbon neutral, carbon negative, about them offsetting emissions that they use. For example, you'll get some famous people will travel all over the world in a plane, even in a private plane, even if it's not the most ecological plane, and they will claim that they will offset this by paying somebody else to plant some trees in another part of the world. They claim that by paying other people to plant trees in another part of the world, they're doing more good than bad. They're saying, why are you complaining about me travelling all over the world in a plane? Don't you know how much money I give every year so that trees can be planted in a part of the world nobody's probably ever even heard of? You know? And that is a valid point. People are claiming that the environment is very important, and that people are claiming that if we do not reduce our emissions and things like that, there won't be a world left anymore. Okay? Now, there are people like Donald Trump who is honest about not caring. He has said that in his opinion, climate change is a hoax. He thinks it's all a load of rubbish, and he wants America to produce as much coal as possible. Right? He's been totally honest about it. But at least he's been honest about it. Right? Whereas other people are claiming to be the good guys by claiming to offset whatever they do. And you could say, well, but let's go back to the murder case again. If somebody pays a hospital to save lots of lives, which would not otherwise have been saved, but they kill their own wife, or they pay for their wife to be killed, does that make them a better person than somebody who doesn't kill their wife, or pay for their wife to be killed, but also doesn't give any money to any hospitals, even if they have the money, to save other lives? It depends on the point of view of the person. If you're a close family member of the person's wife, you probably don't care if some complete strangers die, providing because that's not your concern. As long as that woman doesn't get killed, right? And you could argue that rich people don't have to spend money on hospitals more than the government demands, right? Of them. Now, but when it comes to environment, people tend to have a different view of these things. They think, well, it doesn't matter if this guy travels all over the world in an extremely polluting aeroplane, providing he plants lots and lots and lots of trees in some part of the world nobody's ever heard of, where it may be barely inhabited. And this is the issue. Should we be applauding these people who, you know, create lots of toxic emissions in the air, but then pay for good elsewhere? Should we be praising these people? Or should we say, well, you're still a polluter, and even though you may be doing some good elsewhere, you're still a polluter? Should we see these people who offset as just a PR exercise that allows them to do whatever they like, providing they've got the money to do whatever they want elsewhere and make themselves guilt-free? Is it just a way of buying off the public? Seen as almost like some extra tax, if you like, a sort of voluntary tax that these people pay, just so that the public will carry on buying their records, or carry on, I don't know, going to their concerts or buying their films or whatever, because they can claim they're a good guy because they paid for some trees to be planted. And doesn't that seem a bit hypocritical? Whereas at least Donald Trump was honest about not giving a stuff about the environment. At least he was honest about it, whether you like it or not. But others are claiming to be for the environment, even campaign for the environment, campaign for other people to cut down on their emissions. But yet when it comes to themselves, they don't want to do it themselves, but they will pay for trees to be planted somewhere else, to compensate for the fact that they've got a gas-guzzling private jet that they use or have, and that they probably don't need to make a lot of these journeys anyway. Some of these may even be a lot of holidays they have, which are not absolutely essential to the world, or even essential to their job. But they just want to do what they like, but get the public sympathy, and not upset the public too much, so the public continue to buy their products and services. Okay? So it's something to think about. On the one hand, if you said somebody was murder neutral, or murder negative, because they paid for more people to be saved than they were responsible for the deaths of, the deliberate deaths of, right? You wouldn't say that made them a good person. So why are people saying that celebrities that travel all over the world on expensive gas-guzzling planes, often on holidays or things which have nothing to do with their job, they're not even touring, they're not even going to a pop concert somewhere else or something, they're not even doing this to benefit the world in some way or anybody, they just feel like travelling abroad to a country to stay for the week for fun, right? And then saying, well, we're good people because we paid for that flight to be offset by building lots of trees somewhere else. And the world goes, yes, this guy cares about the environment. He paid for lots of trees. Really? Maybe I've spotted a discrepancy that nobody's spotted before. And maybe my murder negative and murder neutral arguments are just too much for the world to cope with. Or are they? I believe this Greta woman, or should I say girl, because she's actually literally a girl, right? I forgot, okay? I believe she's quite young and a girl. Also, it said this. She said that people should not be trying to become, you know, carbon negative or carbon neutral. They should instead be carbon zero. Just like people should be murder zero. Not offsetting murders based on, you know, either neutral, which means for every murder they commit, or pay to be committed, they pay for somebody else's life to be saved. That would be neutral, although it's immoral. She means zero. In other words, stop creating the emissions in the first place. Perhaps one of the few sincere people on this topic, although I do think she's an idealist who simply isn't living in the real world. Or, if she is, she wants to recreate a jungle where nobody flies abroad, nobody has any gadgets, and they only have the simple surroundings to live on. Many people do not want to live in that kind of world. But as I said, if this sounds even strange, I'm going to make another point, okay? For example, electricity, okay? The electricity company we use claim to be use 100% renewables. That's their claim. They say our energy is provided by 100% renewables. You think, wow, this is incredible, right? Now, we didn't pay for this specially. We didn't even ask for it. It's just imposed upon us. We happen to have used the same electricity company for many, 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 many years. It's too much hassle for us to change it, in our opinion, and whatever, right? So we just stayed with them for whatever reason, okay? And they just suddenly started claiming that they were providing 100% renewable energy. Now, this sounds really impressive if you really are morally into all this kind of thing. You think, wow, if you're really, really into this kind of stuff, and you really want that kind of thing, you think, wow, I'll go to that energy supply. They're using 100% renewable energy. Then you look at the small print, and what they actually say, and this is the small print, in the big print they'll say 100% renewable energy. We provide 100% renewable energy, or something like that, okay? And then, we look in the small print, they say things like, where we do not provide renewable energy, we offset it by paying for renewable energy to be provided somewhere else. So you think, what? So what they're saying is, in reality, some of the energy you use may be provided by renewable energy. Some of it may be provided by, you know, systems which are not clean or renewable. But they will offset that by paying for somebody else to have renewable energy instead of you. But I thought you said you provided 100% renewable energy. I thought you said that you were supplying 100% renewable energy. I thought that meant that all the electricity that comes down the wire was produced using renewable sources. Not 99%, not 70%, but 100%. And that's what most people would think. But if you read the small print, they say, well, it's a mixture of sources that produces the electricity that you get. But if any of that is not created using renewable sources, we will offset that by paying for somebody else, somewhere else, to have the renewable energy that you didn't have, but that you used. But you would have had, if we could have done it. So they're claiming to be, you know, neutral, but isn't that really trickery? I mean, Supposing, for example, somebody claims they're a vegetarian, right? And they say, all our meals are 100% meat free. And you think, wow. If you're a vegetarian, you think, okay, you would buy that food. But what if you then found out later it had meat in it? And they said, yes, but what we did, you see, was we put meat in this meal, but we then, for every meal you ate with meat in it, we paid somebody else somewhere to eat no meat for the day. And you think, that wasn't what I thought it meant. You know? And if somebody was a vegetarian, they want to know that the food they're eating contains no meat products at all in that product. You know, that's what they want. And if they say, 100% meat free, that's what they want it to mean. Not that there is some meat in it, but for however much meat there is in it, they will pay somebody else to eat, to have a meal that doesn't have any meat in it. That's not what they think. And so it seems that people are being loose and fast with the truth when it comes to climate change and the environment, in a way that they would never be regarding vegetarian food or regarding murders. Okay? So as I said, this is a very controversial topic and something to think about. So next time somebody tells you that they're carbon neutral, or that their products are carbon neutral or carbon negative, what do they really mean? And is it just an excuse to be bad? For example, Microsoft have said that they intend to be, I believe, carbon negative. But how are they going to achieve this? Are they genuinely going to produce products which have absolutely no carbon footprint whatsoever, and by some absolute scientific magic that I do not understand, somehow even put carbon back into the atmosphere, or whatever it is, they're trying to do? Whatever it is they're trying to do, do they do it so that it actually takes carbon out of the atmosphere and puts in more oxygen? By the manufacturing processes they're doing, you're saying they're going to change the manufacturing processes and the usage processes in such a way that instead of actually pumping carbon into the atmosphere, they're actually going to pump oxygen into the atmosphere instead. That's what's meant to happen. Are we really saying that? Or is it what I think we're saying, where they're going to still carry on producing lots and lots of environmentally unfriendly stuff, but compensate for it by paying for lots and lots and lots of trees to be built, to be grown, not built, lots of trees to be grown in other parts of the world, or similar schemes, or paying for other companies to put a solar panel on their roof or something? What does it mean? Be careful of when companies say they're carbon neutral or carbon negative. All it means is we've given lots of money to elsewhere so that you'll think we're good, even if we're not. That's what it means. And you have to be very careful about what they are trying to sell. As I said, this is a very controversial video. Possibly quite thought-provoking. What do you think? I think companies should just be more sincere and honest, and if they want to help the environment and make financial donations elsewhere, feel free to do it, but don't tell the world that you're really kind by doing this, and that you're being carbon negative and carbon neutral, or emission neutral and emission negative, or whatever, when in fact you're just producing a lot of emissions that are harmful, and then paying for the people elsewhere to do good things. Just tell it like it is. Okay? Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!